Have you ever heard a voice so powerful it feels like it could shake the very heavens? Today, we're telling the story of a man who possessed such a voice, a man who went from being a baker's son to the voice of God. This is the incredible life story of Luciano Pavarotti in a small, music-filled home in Modena, Italy. On October 12, 1935, a legend was born. Luciano's father was a baker with a beautiful tenor voice, and his mother worked in a cigar factory. Their home wasn't rich in money, but it was overflowing with the sounds of the great tenors of the day. Little Luciano would sit by the gramophone, completely mesmerized, listening to voices that seemed to lift the roof of their humble house. Growing up, Luciano was a cheerful, energetic boy with a very different dream. He wanted to be a football goalkeeper. He was completely ordinary, spending his days playing and singing with his father in the local church choir. He once joked, "My first lessons in music were given by my father. He had the voice, I had the enthusiasm." The hardships of World War II forced his family into the countryside. It was a tough time, but it taught him patience, a virtue that would become essential for his future on the grand stages of the world. After finishing school, Luciano actually became an elementary school teacher. But music was a calling he couldn't ignore. He began taking formal voice lessons, and his teachers immediately recognized the raw, extraordinary potential in his tenor voice. But the road to fame was long and filled with struggle. For years, he sang in small provincial theaters for very little pay. He even thought about giving it all up. He famously said, "At the beginning of my career, I was a zero. Nobody wanted me. I had no money, no fame, only the dream." That phrase, "I am zero," became a symbol of his humility, a reminder that every great journey starts from nothing. Then, in 1961, his moment arrived. Pavarotti won a major singing competition, which led to his professional debut as Rodolfo in La Bohème. The applause was warm, but it wasn't a global phenomenon just yet. That happened 2 years later, in 1963, when he stepped in for another tenor at the Royal Opera House in London. His voice, so pure and radiant, captivated everyone. Suddenly, the world woke up and took notice of this tall, smiling man from Modena. By the late 60s, he was a star, performing in the greatest opera houses from Milan to New York, often alongside the legendary soprano Joan Sutherland. She became his great mentor and friend, their voices blending in a partnership that became iconic in the opera world. But Pavarotti's fame truly exploded in 1972 at the Metropolitan Opera in New York. During a performance of La Fille du Regiment, he delivered 9 flawless high CS. The audience erupted. He received 17 curtain calls. From that night on, he was no longer zero. He was the king of the high CS, a global sensation. His name was on everyone's lips. Unlike many opera stars who stayed within the formal confines of the opera house, Pavarotti wanted to share his gift with everyone. He brought opera out of the theaters and into massive stadiums and public parks. His booming smile and infectious charisma made him beloved by millions, not just opera aficionados. The three tenors concerts, alongside Placido Domingo and Jose Carreras, became a worldwide cultural event, especially after their performance of Nessun Dorma for the 1990 World Cup. Suddenly, opera was a global pop hit, and Pavarotti became a household name. He didn't stop there. He collaborated with pop stars like Bono, Sting, and Mariah Carey, organizing Pavarotti and Friends charity concerts that raised millions for children and refugees in need. He truly was the people's tenor. Behind the fame, Luciano remained deeply human. He was warm-hearted, superstitious, and often anxious before a big performance. He had a deep love for life's simple pleasures, good food, hearty laughter, and the company of his friends. "If I weren't a singer," he once mused, "I would be a happy man who sings for pleasure." He married his childhood sweetheart, Adua Veroni, in 1961 and had 3 daughters. Later in life, after a divorce, he found love again with his assistant, Nicoletta Mantovani, with whom he had another daughter. In 2006, while preparing for his farewell tour, Pavarotti was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. He faced his illness with incredible bravery, continuing to teach and mentor young singers even as his own health faded. On September 6, 2007, at the age of 71, Luciano Pavarotti passed away in his beloved hometown of Modena, surrounded by his family and the sound of music. His funeral was a global event. As his coffin was carried from the cathedral, a recording of Nessun Dorma played. When the final triumphant word "Vincerò," which means "I will win," echoed through the square, the world wept for the loss of its favorite tenor. Luciano Pavarotti left behind more than just a legendary voice. He left a legacy of joy, generosity, and humility. He proved that a life spent in music is a life beautifully spent. From a baker's son who once called himself Zero, he rose to become the voice of a generation, a man whose larger-than-life talent could fill a stadium, yet still feel as intimate as a whisper. Thank you so much for watching and sharing this incredible story with us. If you were moved by Pavarotti's journey, please give this video a like and subscribe to our channel for more stories about the people who changed our world. See you next time.